Good evening. Thanks for tuning in. I'm Jesse Thomas for Thursday, October 16th. This is CTV News at 6. And making news tonight. Much needed rain falling today, but is it enough to impact drought conditions? And what's next? Job losses are coming as a major call center pulls the plug in New Brunswick.
And it's going to be a bit dreary both tonight and Friday, but expecting a mix of sun and cloud this weekend.
Live from our Maritime's News Center, this is CTV News at 6. Here is Jesse Thomas.
Good evening. TD Bank is closing a major call center in Dieppe. The Toronto-based bank made the official announcement early this afternoon. CTV's Derek Haggett joins us now from Dieppe and has been following this story and has more. Hey, Derek.
Jesse, a spokesperson for TD Bank confirmed to me today they are closing the Canadian Bank call center located here at Champlain Place Mall in Dieppe. How many people will lose their jobs isn't known just yet. It's important to note the call center is closing, but TD's office will remain open. The closure is isolated to the call center and doesn't impact other TD businesses operating in Greater Moncton. The bank's Finance Operations Center, TD Insurance Contact Centers, and other TD services will continue to serve clients. A company spokesperson says they are actively working with call center employees to find them opportunities within TD, so the number of job losses isn't available right now. We are fully committed to supporting any impacted colleagues through the transition, including redeployment or relocation where possible, access to career supports, and personalized assistance to navigate next steps. TD says they remain committed to New Brunswick, employing more than 2,000 people across the province. Toronto Dominion first announced plans for a new call center in the Greater Moncton area in May 2017. At the time, the provincial government said the center would create up to 575 full-time jobs. Around $9 million in financial assistance was provided by the province. The banking giant moved into the former Sears location at the mall in 2018. The province says they've been in contact with TD and are coordinating efforts to ensure employees receive the support and assistance they deserve. The TD Bank call center is scheduled to close this spring, but again, the office will remain open. However, the company is not saying how many jobs will be eliminated. Jesse.
Thanks, Derek. That's Derek Haggett reporting in Dieppe tonight. And a 26-year-old man is facing an attempted murder charge after an incident in St. John. A week ago, police officers were called to a home in the city's south end last Thursday where they found a 45-year-old woman suffering serious injuries. She was taken to hospital where she remains in stable condition. Police say the suspect was arrested yesterday and he and the victim did know each other. And there is now a police watchdog lined up to investigate the potential police wrongdoing in connection with the wrongful conviction of Glenn Assoon. He was convicted in 1999 of killing his ex-girlfriend, Brenda Way, but was acquitted of that in 2019, 4 years before passing away. CTV's Callum Smith has more.
The saying, "It's been years in the making," couldn't be more true. Glenn Assoon spent nearly 17 years in prison and then another 5 years under strict bail conditions for the murder of his former girlfriend, Brenda Way. She was stabbed to death in November 1995, but Assoon maintained,
"I'm an innocent man. I've always been innocent, and I always will be innocent."
This is just a very tragic situation all around. Whenever a miscarriage of justice like this occurs, I mean, it impacts family and loved ones, and it also impacts the greater community and the confidence that we have in our justice system.
Assoon was finally exonerated in 2019, and the director of Nova Scotia's Serious Incident Response Team says since taking on her role in 2023, this case has weighed on her. In 2020, former Justice Minister Mark Feary asked CERT to investigate the case. It was handed off to the BC watchdog in 2021, but 2 years later, they said they didn't have the resources. CERT tried to get another agency afterwards, but that fell through, leading to today with news of Alberta's watchdog taking it on. But there are many challenges with this investigation, from the passage of time to Assoon's 2023 death at the age of 67.
It's extremely challenging, and not to mention it's extremely challenging for the family and loved ones of Mr. Assoon, who I'm sure would have loved to see him to see it get to this stage.
It's a 3-year contract with ACERT worth nearly $2 million in all, but Nova Scotia's police watchdog says there's no way to know how long an investigation like this will take.
We've asked them to focus on allegations that the RCMP of Nova Scotia may have inappropriately destroyed evidence and examine whether any member of the Halifax Regional Police committed any offense, whether it be perjury or otherwise, related to this conviction.
Way's murder has never been solved. Callum Smith, CTV News, Halifax.
And a reminder, for more on this story or any others, visit our website at ctvnewsatlantic.ca. And dry wells continue to be a problem around the Maritimes. Community centres have opened to supply water to those who need it, while the Nova Scotia government says drought is becoming a way of life here. CTV's Jonathan McGuinness has the story.
Barb Julison is grateful for the water station at the East Hants Aquatic Centre. Like many others, she has been dealing with a dry well most of the summer.
Once or twice we have to get our wells filled up, but the wait list is so long now that we come and get what we need. And
she figures she's had her well filled 6 or 7 times.
Everybody is running out of water.
For Belknap resident Keith Tovey, this is the first summer his well has run dry. He's paid $140 for each of his 4 2,000-litre fill-ups.
This is the worst year ever, and I've been there, 40 years now, and it certainly is. And speaking to all my neighbours, exactly the same thing.
We have been treating this year's drought situation as an emergency.
Emergency Management Minister Kim Maslin says in response, the government has spent $700,000 on bottled water to help people across the province.
This is a one-off program to meet the needs this year. It will not become a departmental program. We need to understand that these drought conditions are no longer a one-off.
It's a short-term fix. There are funding options available to help residents deal with the drought long-term.
In terms of water resources and drought, I think I can say that's a concern of every Nova Scotian and our concern as well, and we would be constantly reassessing that.
For now, residents in Elmsdale will continue to fill their water jugs and hope for rain. And Jesse, the Aquatic Centre here in East Hants is open until 7 p.m. on weekdays and 5 p.m. on weekends, helping people get through until significant rain comes and fills up wells that have been dry, in some cases, Jesse, for months.
Yeah. Good information. Thanks, John. That's John McGuinness reporting in Elmsdale tonight. All right, that takes us outside again. There's a live look at the Yarmouth waterfront where it's 12 degrees there. Let's bring in Kaylin Mitchell now to get a first look at the weather. It's certainly been dry. This rain has been welcomed for sure, Kaylin.
Absolutely. Although it's been more showery conditions for most of the Maritimes with the damp weather around the Maritimes, or for today, I should say. What I would describe as a significant rainfall at this time of the year, so for the month of October, would be like 20+ millimeters. Haven't seen much sign of that, and we need that type of significant rain at least multiple times a week, basically over the next several weeks, to really put a dent in the dry situation around the Maritimes. The showery conditions over the last 24 hours, and most of these reports actually came in from this morning, and there was a little bit of wet weather that has fallen throughout the day. As you can see, we're in the range for around a few to several millimeters, even less than that around parts of Prince Edward Island, eastern areas of Nova Scotia. There were a few spots, 10 millimeters or a little bit more, including a few parts of eastern New Brunswick, Miramichi, 12 millimeters, Moncton at around 10. There is going to be a little bit more wet weather to still come to areas of the Maritimes, so we make our way through this evening and tonight. Maybe an additional 2 to 5 millimeters possible, parts of the south of New Brunswick, as well as western areas of Nova Scotia, especially up and down the South Shore. Now, the air itself is going to be cool and damp, and the reason for that is we're sitting just behind a strong low pressure system, which is basically off the Atlantic coastline of Nova Scotia, and the winds in around that low pressure system are basically drawing in that cool and damp air off the North Atlantic and bringing it straight down across much of Atlantic Canada. So that's going to persist as we move through tonight and towards tomorrow. It's going to keep us on the cloudier side. And for Friday, we'll keep some patchy drizzle in the region. Now, as we move into and through the upcoming weekend, that low pressure system is going to be headed off towards the east, and that will free us of sort of that influence of that North Atlantic air. We can expect some sunshine to break through a little bit later this weekend, and daytime temperatures come up a little bit. Until then, though, it's going to be pretty cool. Temperatures right now, high single digits and low teens. And I'll have more in the forecast when I'm back a little bit later on. Jesse.
All right, great. Thanks for that, Kalen. We'll see you back here in around 15 minutes' time. In other news, uncertainty around the new softwood lumber tariffs that came into effect this week continue to create confusion on top of the existing duties that continue to chip away at confidence for those in the industry, especially in rural New Brunswick. CTV's Nick Moore reports.
This is a bad situation.
Andrew Clark has been a woodlot owner in Carleton County for more than 40 years, and by his nature is usually pretty optimistic.
For the first time that I can remember, I'm discouraged.
In addition to the existing 35% tariff on softwood lumber, a further 10% was added Tuesday. A new 25% duty was also placed on some finished wood products like cabinets and vanities. Another 25% could be added to that industry in the new year.
You know, truckers have to find out the latest information before they dare go to the border, because they might get turned away. Because they have to start using a broker now. Even the U.S. border people are saying, look, we're not enforcing some of this because we don't know what the heck's going on.
The Carleton Victoria Forest Products Marketing Board had sales of $4.7 million last year, but is on track for a $3 million reduction this year.
A lot of local businesses here that sell groceries, tires, parts, whatever, are not getting that $3 million less that Carleton Victoria is experiencing right now. So this isn't just an impact on the private woodlot owners. This is an impact on the rural economy of New Brunswick.
Andrew Harvey is the mayor of the district of Carleton North.
Our softwood mills are very efficient, but at the same time, there's no way they can cover a 45% tariff, a cumulative tariff of 45%. So we're very, very concerned where this is going. So they want to have certainty of moving forward, what that looks like.
And without that certainty, doubt and worry are only growing.
I don't know how you'd judge. I know I wouldn't be investing in any new equipment right now to cut wood with.
Nick Moore, CTV News, Simons, New Brunswick.
And volunteers hit the streets around Halifax to count the number of people who are homeless. It's part of an annual study to capture a point-in-time count of how many people are living outside or in homeless shelters. Last night, CTV's Emma Convey followed the survey team on the ground. In this feature report, she shows us how the count is conducted and why it's important.
This structure, built from wooden pallets and tied together plastic tarps, is someone's home in the woods here, not far from a community center in the Clayton Park area of Halifax.
We want to make sure we get a reliable number so that we can report back to community the state of homelessness in our community in HRM.
This is the 5th year the Affordable Housing Association of Nova Scotia is completing the Homelessness and Housing Needs Study, a point-in-time count to determine how many people are living outside and homeless.
We can maybe head to the end of this block and then just head up.
It's dark and getting cold this Wednesday night. Social work students Logan and Maeve are out surveying in downtown Halifax, counting the number of people without a roof over their head tonight.
Well, we're trying to approach everyone because we don't want to profile, but we're also trying to look for someone who may be sleeping on a bench or has all of their belongings, because that's kind of one of the biggest indicators.
AHAN's partnered with the Mi'kmaq Friendship Center to track over a 24-hour period the number of people living outdoors and staying in shelters.
We're really trying to make a difference, and talking to people and seeing what they need is really important.
As part of the evening shift from 7 to 10, 50 volunteers spread out across Halifax, Dartmouth, Bedford, Sackville, Eastern Passage, and Cole Harbour. It's a lot of ground to cover. Volunteers are asking individuals who they suspect could be unhoused the question, do you have a place to stay tonight? Responses vary from hotels, shelters with a family member, or on the streets. But if the response is a hospital, treatment center, or a jail, then the follow-up is, do they have access to a permanent residence after they leave? Last year, teams did a count and a survey, asking homeless individuals over 60 questions to better understand the demographics.
Doing the full survey every year is a little too cumbersome, but at the same time, they recognize the benefit of that annual count. So they made the decision starting this year that the count will continue to happen annually and the survey will be every third year.
This study is a big task, with about 15 different organizations helping.
So many of our volunteers tonight, they do work in the sector, so they're in a lot of cases, they're managers adjusting their schedules to give them time to come out with us tonight. Some of them came in, they're on vacation this week, and they're like, no, I'm coming out to help because this is important to me.
Volunteers stopped in at dozens of encampment sites like this one, and at hidden spots where people are known to sleep. They wrapped up the 24-hour study early this morning.
Get a better understanding. Has that number grown? Has that number gone down? Are there trends that we're unaware of? Are people staying in places or in solutions that haven't existed? Are the people in those places and those solutions growing? And then help to inform all three levels of government and the community of service providers.
Organizers suspect numbers will be similar to last year, where they found 1,132 people experiencing homelessness that day. The official survey results will be released next month. Another snapshot of the homelessness situation here. Emma Convey, CTV News, Halifax.
Get the Maritime's top stories, breaking news alerts, and watch live. Download the CTV News app.
A new provincial program announced in New Brunswick this week offering free home radon test kits has run out of kits already. Now the charity behind the years of advocacy says the public response shows there's a real need for testing and for support. CTV's Josh Smith has more.
At libraries across New Brunswick, the shelves emptied fast. Free radon kits were snapped up in less than 24 hours.
We started hearing from libraries before noon on Wednesday. So that's less than 24 hours after the program was officially announced. We started hearing that they had exhausted their initial supply.
NB Lung says it's thrilled to see the demand, but frustrated that some residents were turned away.
We've been advocating for years to remove the financial barriers that stand between New Brunswickers and understanding whether their home has high levels of radon.
The charity says once high radon is detected, mitigation can cost over $3,000.
So we'll continue to work with the province to continually remove the financial hurdles and the barriers to access to understanding if your home represents an elevated risk of lung cancer.
Radon mitigation system, we have our fan here.
Those in the radon business say the government giveaway has been both a blessing and a challenge.
We're excited. You know, this is the first province in the country to offer free testing to the public. But as a business owner, it's put us in a weird position that now I have to compete with a free test kit where mine that I've already bought costs money.
Jeff LeBlanc is one of 21 certified professionals in the province that could fill the gap.
We have stock and inventory right now, right here behind us. We have stock. So we're there and ready and able to provide test kits. If the government wanted to look at some kind of a rebate program.
Health experts estimate 1 in 4 homes in New Brunswick has elevated radon levels amongst the highest in the country. Staff here at the Shediac Library did not want to appear on camera, but they did tell me that demand has been high. They ran out in just 2 days, and they hope to get more in by next week. Josh Smith, CTV News, Shediac, New Brunswick.
And that brings us to tonight's CTV web poll. We're asking, have you ever tested your home for radon? And the options are very simple. It's a simple yes or no question tonight. You can take part in the poll and see the results of previous polls on our website, ctvnewsatlantic.ca. All right, still ahead, a few more showers for parts of the region tonight. Kalen will be here with his full maritime weather forecast. But next, the latest in an airport hack investigation.
It's a great way if you're an adversarial group to get your message out and scare people. That's basically what they did.
Officials in Canada and the U.S. are looking into how the PA systems at 4 airports got hacked. That story's coming up after the break. Stick around. Welcome back. Investigations are underway on both sides of the border after apparent hackers took over the PA systems at 4 North American airports. Now, the hacks disrupted operations, broadcasting unauthorized pro-Palestinian political messages. Here in Canada, it happened at airports in BC and in Windsor, Ontario. CNN's Lee Waldman has the latest.
Hackers took over the public broadcast systems and terminals at 4 airports in North America Tuesday.
Hacked by Cyber Islam, Netanyahu and Trump. Turkish hacker Cyber Islam.
In this video posted on social media at the Harrisburg International Airport in Pennsylvania, you can hear an automated voice saying "Free Palestine," followed by profanity directed at Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu and President Donald Trump. Cybersecurity expert Chase Cunningham says the incident wasn't surprising because the systems are poorly configured.
It's a great way if you're an adversarial group to get your message out and scare people. That's basically what they did.
Police are investigating the Pennsylvania incident. Transportation Secretary Sean Duffy posted on social media that the FAA is working to help get to the bottom of this hack, calling it unacceptable. Similar hacker broadcasts were recorded at 3 airports in Canada.
Typically, the fixes for these are relatively simple, but unfortunately, most of these organizations ignore the basics of blocking and tackling in cyber, and they go after the new, shiny, cool AI-powered solution.
The breaches come amidst an onslaught of cyber attacks on the air travel industry that have caused disruptions for customers and forced some of the world's largest airports to a halt.
It scares me a lot because I know how these systems work and the connections that are there, and it's just a matter of time before things are going to cause potentially life-impacting changes.
In New York, I'm Lee Waldman.
And up next, a bit more wet weather is on its way. It'll be mostly cloudy, cool and breezy tomorrow. Kaylin's back with your full maritime forecast. Stay tuned for that. All right, welcome back. Here's a live look at the commute home in Fredericton. It's pretty rainy there right now, looking like it, Kaylin. Anyways, 8 degrees. You were right about the rain. The clouds finally opened up and dropped some rain on us. I guess we need to know, is it enough? or is it going to stick around, right?
We're going to need a lot more than this, and we're going to need like 2 very good rainy systems to come through a week, basically over the next several weeks. But it is nice to have some moisture in the region for sure. Nice to see a few raindrops in the camera there. We'll get back to our weather forecast here in the Maritimes in a moment. Let's take a look, though, at weather conditions across the country. We've got a mix of sun and cloud right now around the south coast of BC. Vancouver sitting at 13 degrees. Mixed sun and cloud around Edmonton sitting at 17 right now. And then it's Saskatchewan at sunshine and 12 degrees at Saskatoon. And Winnipeg reporting some rain sitting at 11. In the north right now, Whitehorse cloudy and 8 degrees. Yellowknife is cloudy as well, sitting at 3. The wind warnings have ended. And then off towards Iqaluit, it is much cooler, sitting at 0 at the moment. Temperatures have cooled down a little bit as well through parts of southern Ontario, but Ottawa, Montreal sitting at 13 degrees right now. Quebec City at 9, 10 at Fredericton, 11 at Halifax, 12 at Charlottetown, and 8 right now, and rain being reported in St. John's. Taking a look at our forecast timeline for cloud cover and precipitation, so we still have some areas of some showers around the Maritime region that are going to be present through this evening. One of the areas where the wet weather will be most widespread will be in that southwestern corner of New Brunswick. We just saw it's still raining in around Fredericton. And there's a couple bands of showers moving back off the Atlantic and kind of sweeping down through central and then southwestern areas of Nova Scotia. And that will carry on as we make our way towards midnight. Now, most of that shower activity is going to be wrapped up by the overnight hours. And overnight, cloudy conditions, maybe a little bit patchy drizzle and fog. And it kind of remains that way through the day on Friday. A mostly cloudy day. It'll be cool. Winds are going to be breezy out of the north and northeast, and still expecting some patchy drizzle to be present. The highest chance of drizzle will be around the eastern coastline of New Brunswick and into the southeastern corner of that province. Prince Edward Island, especially along the northern coastline, and parts of Nova Scotia around the North Shore, Cape Breton, and the Atlantic coastline. Taking a look at winds in the forecast for tonight and tomorrow, they remain out of the north and northeast. They'll have some gusts between 20 and 40 kilometers per hour on Friday for New Brunswick, Prince Edward Island, eastern areas of Nova Scotia. And then the potential for some peak gusts between 30 and 50 kilometers per hour for coastal areas of the southwest of Nova Scotia. Low temperatures for tonight for New Brunswick, falling into a range of 5 to 8 degrees, down between 8 and 10 for Prince Edward Island, and most of the low temperatures tonight for Nova Scotia between 8 and 10. Highs in the forecast for tomorrow across northern New Brunswick between 10 and 13 degrees, and down through central and southern parts of the province, 14 for Fredericton tomorrow, 12 for Grand Manan and St. John, and 11 degrees for Moncton. Prince Edward Island with high temperatures near 12 on Friday. Cloudy, patchy drizzle, northeast wind 20 gusting to 40 kilometers per hour. In Cape Breton, high temperatures 11 to 14 degrees, near 13 for New Glasgow and Antigonish. For tomorrow, 14 for Ecum-Secum. Northern and central areas of Nova Scotia with high temperatures mostly between 12 and 14. In the Annapolis Valley tomorrow, Kentville, Wolfville, high temperatures near 13 degrees. Same thing goes for Middleton and Digby. And then on the South Shore and in the southwest of Nova Scotia, 15 at Liverpool and Shelburne, and looking at 13 degrees for Yarmouth and Barrington. In the 7-day outlook for New Brunswick, if you're looking for a bit of sunshine, yeah, we got some partial clearing in the weekend forecast. Sunday looks like a very fair weather mix of sun and cloud. High temperatures around the mid-teens. Monday, a very similar day. We've got a front arriving from the southwest that'll be bringing us a chance of showers on Tuesday and the potential for some periods of rain for New Brunswick Wednesday and Thursday. For Nova Scotia in the forecast coming up for the weekend, there'll be a little bit more clearing as we move through Saturday into Sunday. And Sunday's high temperatures around the mid-teens. Same thing goes for Monday. After that, it's a chance of showers with increasing cloudiness on Tuesday and Wednesday of next week, followed by the possibility of some rain on Thursday. And for Prince Edward Island coming up on Saturday, still looking pretty cloudy, still with a chance of some patchy drizzle, especially for coastal areas, but a mix of sun and cloud on both Sunday and Monday, with high temperatures coming up towards the mid-teens. After that, chance of showers on Tuesday and Wednesday, and chance of rain on Thursday of next week, Jesse.
All right, thanks for that, Kalen. We'll check in with you later on for the Wake Up Weather segment. Next, we'll talk about the cultural and economic ties between our region and Scotland, and we have this story coming up a little later.
Hey y'all, it is Lindsay Miser. I'm here at CTV today talking about my new album, For a Moment I, that's coming out Friday, October 17th. Stay tuned and I'll let you know a little bit more about it.
Okay, so we're back at it tomorrow. Virgin Radio's 5K Day, giving you a chance to win $5,000 at 7 a.m.
And join us for Flashback Friday. You have a chance to vote for your favorite throwback jam.
All right, welcome back. There are so many strong cultural and economic ties between the Maritime provinces and Scotland, and that is the focus of our discussion this evening. We have Kate Forbes in the studio today. Kate is Scotland's Deputy First Minister and Cabinet Secretary for the Economy and a member of the Scottish National Party. Thanks for visiting us here in Nova Scotia. Have you been to Nova Scotia before?
I've not, and it has been on my bucket list for a very long time. So I'm delighted to be here visiting and enjoyed such a warm welcome.
Awesome. Well, welcome to Nova Scotia on behalf of all Nova Scotians. I get the impression this is, though, a business meeting that brings you here, not for pleasure to see the beautiful fall colors, although maybe you'll get a chance to go to Cape Breton, as I understand. But this is a business trip, I understand. What are you hoping to achieve here?
That's right. So obviously there's so many strong connections, as you said, between Nova Scotia and Scotland. And I'm here for two reasons. One is to engage with those that have an interest in preserving the Gaelic language and culture, but also to look at enterprise opportunities. And I'm responsible for boosting business, boosting our economy in Scotland. And I'm looking for opportunities where Nova Scotian businesses and Scottish businesses can grow in a mutually beneficial way. We've got so much overlap in our key industries, whether it's energy, whether it's areas around entrepreneurship, food and drink, and it's looking for those opportunities where there can be mutual benefit to both economies.
Great. Who are you meeting with while you're here in terms of capitalizing on some of those opportunities that you mentioned?
So I've had the delight this morning of meeting with a number of your ministers, the Minister for Energy, for Economic Affairs, and also meeting with a number of businesses through the Chamber of Commerce. So we've been sparking off those ideas and looking for what we might build and develop together. But then I've also been meeting with representatives of some of the communities, and as you said, quite hoping to go and do some visiting of my own.
Awesome. How do you see Scotland and maritime provinces like Nova Scotia and New Brunswick working better together under the climate we're in? Because, I have to mention it, the tariff situation and the trade tensions between Canada and the U.S. has really forced our governments to look elsewhere, and I'm sure that's part of your trip here.
Well, that's a big reason for my visit, because in Scotland, over the last 6 months in particular, we have seen more interest from Canadian businesses than we've seen for a very long time, as they perhaps look further east for some opportunities into European countries. And so I'm here to cement those those relationships.
Right.
And I just think there's such incredible overlap. I think there's the same sort of dynamic in the way we do business and just great overlap with some of the key industries.
Looking at my notes, Canada is Scotland's, well, 9th largest export market, so around $940 million of goods are exported from here to Scotland a year. Around 105 Canadian companies operate in Scotland, employing more than 10,000 people. So we are intertwined already. Is there something specific, though, that on this trip you're looking to boost in terms of that relationship?
A lot of you also visit Scotland as tourists and spend a lot of money, so that's also good. So let's take the energy transition. So Scotland has a rich heritage in oil and gas, but we're transitioning to offshore wind. You've got a big programme here in terms of that. So how do we create the jobs for Nova Scotians? How do we create the jobs for people in Scotland as part of that transition? There's a big opportunity. There's already strong connections on defence, on the Navy, and on building warships. So there's connections like that. So it's all about how we create the jobs locally for either Nova Scotia or Scotland as a result of our natural resources.
The time we're in now, globally, is it more important than ever to really reevaluate our relationship with each other around emerging sectors, even like, critical minerals we're hearing a lot about, paving the way for a green economy, the future in that way?
So I don't think we're doing enough as it is. I think we could do so much more. And what I heard today from businesses was an appetite to build on the social connections we have. We have social connections. Nova Scotia and Scotland and the Maritimes have social connections with Scotland. But how do we create enterprising opportunities out of that? And that's what I'm keen to deliver on.
Well, Nova Scotia, commonly referred to as New Scotland, obviously, so there is some culture and history there as well. Let's get into that before we wrap it up here. How important is that to build on that? And are people out in Scotland aware of us here and vice versa? Is there something to really, establish there?
Well, as a Scot from the Highlands, Cape Breton and Nova Scotia have always been this magical place in our minds. We grew up on the Rankin family and other musical exports, and so there is that really strong connection. But in recent years, we've seen the growth of Gaelic education in Nova Scotia. We've got the Gaelic College. We too have a Gaelic College. So I think these connections are stronger than they've ever been.
You plan to take a tour of the Highlands of Cape Breton a little bit too, right? It's not just pure business for you. You're gonna...
A few days after I finish the business part, I'm going to go and have a look, and very much looking forward to it.
That's awesome. We are kind of getting short on time here, but I want to thank you for making some time during your trip to come in and talk with us. What's one of the biggest exports that Scotland has with Canada in terms of what you deliver?
Well, food and drink is a big export. I think we're both in the seafood business, and so there's a lot of overlap in relation to that.
Well, lobster, might that be on the menu while you're for your trip here?
I will need to find a lobster before I leave.
Thanks a lot. We'll have to wrap it up there. Thanks for coming in. Kate Forbes is the Deputy First Minister in Scotland and is on a business trip here. Thanks for making some time again. We'll ask you to stick around. We're going to go to a quick commercial break, but there's much more news from the Maritimes. Stay tuned. In the Lifeline tonight, the survey that finds many Canadian doctors are still experiencing high rates of burnout. CTV's Amanda Debison has more.
More than 5 years after the pandemic, Canada's healthcare workers on the front lines are still struggling. A new survey from the Canadian Medical Association shows doctors are burnt out and facing depression. As the system buckles under increased pressure, 46% of physicians have reported high levels of burnout. Many doctors cited growing frustrations like the amount of administrative tasks, complexity of patient care, and increased expectations of patients and families. Health ministers from across the country are in Calgary for 2 days of meetings. Interprovincial credential recognition, funding agreements, mental health and addiction issues, as well as vaccination programs could be all up for discussion. The ministers are also set to meet with national doctors and nurses organizations. The medical professionals have been calling for cooperation at both levels of government to develop new ways to support and retain health workers. Finally, south of the border, for the first time in more than a decade, the number of states with rates of obesity of 35% or more dropped. Experts say it's an encouraging sign that America's epidemic of excess weight might be improving. But cuts to federal staff and programs that address chronic disease could endanger that progress. That's according to a new report based on CDC data. The overall rate of obesity in the U.S. is high, but holding steady, affecting about 40% of the population. With Health and Medical News, I'm Amanda Devison for the Lifeline.
Lights, camera, action, we're on the scene. Can you feel it? With Katie Kelly. Now, a local artist is releasing her debut album tomorrow.
Yes.
Exciting.
So Lindsay Meisner has been working hard for many years, and now, Jesse, it's all paying off.
How'd I go from zero to halfway hero?
She's one of the most recognizable new voices on the local R&B scene. And behind that voice is a story of resilience.
I feel like that's my purpose in this world, is to be a messenger and to help others.
Halifax artist Lindsay Meisner releases her debut album this Friday. A project years in the making, and one that's as personal as it gets.
Oh, love lost, love gained, you know, pain, heartbreak of many sorts. So not just love, heartbreak, but like family heartbreak. And some of it is about like my sobriety as well.
For Meisner, music has been a constant through every chapter, including some of her hardest.
So yeah, I was moved around a lot as a child. It's all good though, my parents are great people, but just, you know, life happens. So a lot of like trauma, I would say. When I got a little bit older, in my like 1920s, I became a drug addict for a few years. Once I got sober, I was able to put that into music again, and now I help people through that.
Her music has become a message of healing and hope.
The album's actually called For a Moment I, which is kind of an interesting name, but it represents like each song was a moment in my life that has now passed, and I'm reflecting on it by releasing this project. So I think that's a good way to just like look at life in general instead of holding on to things. For a moment, you were, and now you're not. So move on.
And that message extends beyond music through her work with the Archdiocese of Halifax. When she's not on stage, Meisner helps people experiencing homelessness.
So every day I get to wake up and help people, which is really nice because it's not a job that I am forced to do. It's something that I actually want to do.
She'll celebrate the release with her biggest show yet, November 21st at the Garden Food Bar in Halifax.
Then I have a surprise guest performing as well. There's going to be like a cocktail hour. It's going to be very bougie. That's the goal.
Meisner hopes the album encourages listeners to reflect on their own journeys and feel every moment along the way.
I just hope people, first of all, enjoy it and maybe have some sensual moments, maybe have some, you know, sad reflection moments, and just take away that I love what I do, and hopefully they feel that.
She's so good, right?
Wow, what a story and what a sound.
I know, she's amazing. So For a Moment I will be out everywhere tomorrow, and more details about Lindsay's album release show are up on our website.
And Matt Anderson fans are about to get some good news as well.
Yes, Jesse, really good news. Another show.
The longer I listen, the less that I learn.
Due to overwhelming demand, the singer-songwriter has added a 4th show at the Lighthouse Arts Centre on February 8th. It's part of his Hammer and the Rose tour, which also stops in Glace Bay, Pictou, Charlottetown, Fredericton, St. John, Moncton, and more. Tickets are on sale now. Go online for all of the show dates and details.
Such a big voice, he doesn't even need a microphone.
It's true.
And now a reminder about our latest contest.
Yes, it's the Lots of Laughs giveaway. So the Great Outdoors Comedy Festival is set to return to Halifax in 2026. So the event will take place August 6th to 9th on the Garrison grounds. It will feature 2 shows with headliner Matt Rife on Thursday and Friday, and a Sunday show with headliner Nikki Glazer. One lucky viewer will win 2 VIP tickets to Wright's show on August 7th. If you want to enter to win those tickets, all you have to do is scan that QR code on your screen, or you can head to ctvatlantic.ca and follow the contest prompts. The contest is open till 6 p.m. Friday. Do not miss out on your chance to enjoy live comedy in the great outdoors. Good luck, everyone.
All right, thank you. That's a look at some entertainment news. Let's go to tonight's primetime lineup now.
With Crash and Sarah Beth.
So Crash's kid has bullied us into trying her magical creation for Foodie Friday tomorrow at 8:20.
A little nervous about it. Plus, it's our last day of keywords for Dream Big. Good luck.
And to business news now. On the markets, the Dow ended the day down 301 points, and the rules around how much banks can charge you for having insufficient funds is changing. BNN Bloomberg's Mirella Fernandez has more on that.
The Credit Counseling Society says those charges add up to about $600 million in revenue for banks. That's because banks often charge customers up to $50 when they don't have enough money to cover costs. But the rules change in March. Those fees will be capped at $10, and banks won't be allowed to charge you if the shortfall is under $10. Canadian Tire will soon start to sell the distinctive Hudson's Bay blanket. Proceeds from the sales will go to Indigenous-led initiatives. Canadian Tire promises to put at least $1 million into the fund, even if they don't sell $1 million worth of blankets. The retailer bought Hudson's Bay intellectual property when it declared bankruptcy. The Bank of Montreal is selling 138 of its branches in the U.S. to First Citizens Bank and Trust. The value of the deal has not been shared. The locations are scattered across 11 states from North Dakota to Missouri. BMO plans to open up 150 new branches, many in California. Here are the closing numbers for the day. The Canadian dollar is down a fraction. It ended the day at 71.16. West Texas Intermediate also down to 57.48. Western Canadian Select down as well to 47.55. And the TSX dropped 178 points today. Those are your business headlines. I'm Mirella Fernandez.
All right, it's that time of the show where we find Kaylin Mitchell outside on the weather deck. You've got an umbrella this time.
Yeah, umbrella in hand out here this evening here in the north end of Halifax. It is sprinkling just a little bit. Winds are breezy and conditions generally cool as well. We do have some areas of showers still around the Maritimes for this evening. There'll be some patchy drizzle and fog overnight. Let's take a look at our viewer picture for tonight. This is a beautiful scene. It was sent in today by Barry Burgess. I want to thank Barry very much for taking the time to do that. And you can see the fall colors here on the trees surrounding the riverbank here. That'll be something that this little bit of wet weather is good for sure. And Hubbard's for tomorrow, looking at a cloudy day, maybe a little bit of drizzle around, and the high temperature will be near 14 degrees. Starting off tomorrow morning in the Maritimes, cloudy, patchy drizzle and fog. Morning temperatures in the range of around 6 to 11 degrees. There'll be a north and northeast wind that'll be steady throughout the day for tomorrow. In fact, that wind will pick up a little bit for Friday afternoon to include some gusts of 20 to 40 kilometers per hour, up to around 50 for coastal areas in the southwest of Nova Scotia. High temperatures tomorrow, mostly in the low teens. A few around the south shore of Nova Scotia might squeak out 15 degrees. Even in the afternoon, it's expected to be mostly cloudy and still with the possibility of some patchy drizzle, especially for coastal areas around the region. Jesse.
All right, thanks for that, Kaylin. Now get inside and dry off before the Blue Jays game, all right?
Yeah, that's right.
All right, thanks a lot, Kaylin. Finally tonight, free flowers and smiles were being handed out in neighboring Bangor, Maine yesterday. A local floral shop joined dozens of flower shops across the U.S. yesterday for Pedal It Forward. It's an effort organized by the Society of American Florists to spread kindness and calm one stem at a time. The concept is simple. Each passerby receives 2 flowers, one to keep and one to give away. Organizers say the event is meant to remind people that even small gestures can make a large and lasting impact. Love that. All right, that is our show for tonight. Thanks for tuning in. I'll be back here at 11:30 tonight, filling in for Bruce Frisco to bring you the late news. In the meantime, find all these news stories and more, and even some updates to them on our website, ctvnewsatlantic.ca. After all, it's your home for news. I'm Jesse Thomas, filling in for Todd Battis here. Thanks for watching, and have a great night, everybody. We'll see you later.
CTV News, the Maritime's #1 newscast.